Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending where you're at, probably East Coast. We are coming to you live from Colfax, Iowa. That's right, the man on my right is the Colfax Comet, Mr. Robert Bell. Robert, how's it going?
Hi, guys.
We are standing in his shop right now, and it's truly an eclectic place if you want to find stuff. You can find anything from a tea bucket to a 100-inch super modified, aka like Emmett Hahn and them ran in the Midwest. You saw it from Minnesota to Texas. We've got a motorhome. We've got a
35 Studebaker.
We've got a 35 Studebaker that belonged to none other than Adolf Hitler at one time. We'll get back to the second.
Yeah.
We've got a Dave Blaney ex-Vibram chassis sitting in the back. And we've got pretty much anything else you can think of. But,
There's some history here in
there's
the
some
shop.
Yeah, sitting right here in the chair.
Right,
Yeah.
including this guy.
We just went down to Craddy's Corner in downtown Colfax to have some breakfast, which was fantastic, by the way.
Highly recommended.
Highly
if you're
recommend if you're in
Colfax
this area. Yep, in this area, it was really good. But then we came a couple miles up the road here to Robert's shop, which was a roller skating rink at one time.
Yep. We partied in this place.
Yep, and actually, if you look around, you still see where they put the concrete in where the wood was for the roller skating. So,
Very cool.
yeah, so it's a pretty cool place. American pickers would have a heart attack in here, and Robert said they would because he killed them and he found them in here. So, don't like that show anyway.
Yeah, so we just wanted to take a moment, thank you for
Yep.
allowing us into your shop while we're in your part of the neighborhood. And,
I just want to thank you guys for coming and seeing me. I think this is a
Absolutely.
great deal.
Yep.
I know a lot of people don't know a lot of things, but I've had some really serious health issues, and I haven't been racing much. I would sure love to race, but I've had a motor problem, and we had some issues getting some parts. My motors are a little bit older than everybody else, so
And your motor's not doing too good.
everything. No, my motor itself is on its last leg.
It's got
It needs new pistons.
You're down to 5 cylinders.
Right on.
Yep.
But I just want everybody to know I love you guys. Are all the greatest. I've had more fun on the road racing and seeing you people and having interviews and racing. Whether I'm up front or in the back, I'm still a winner.
That's right.
There you go.
We've known you now for about 8, 9,
Oh,
10
yeah,
years
since you
maybe.
came east the
something
first
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Since 2015.
It's always a pleasure when we were able to get together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You were with us when we went to Houston's and actually had a hell of a week.
I still have your stagger tape, by the way.
We run at Houston's for the big race up there for that national deal, and we made the feature every night we were there.
Yes, sir.
And that we didn't just get it give to us. We had to work for
Yeah,
it.
yep. You earned it.
We tore some shit up to get there, but we made it.
Yep.
As you can tell, kind of gray and cloudy out right now here in Iowa, so we're kind of hoping things clear off a bit for later on tonight.
Heading down to that little race.
Yeah, there's a little race about an hour down the road, I guess, not even that.
40 minutes.
40 minutes exactly. Yeah, you probably heard of it, the Marion County Fairgrounds. So we'll be-
Knoxville, Iowa.
Knoxville, Iowa, not Tennessee,
No,
Right.
not Knoxville, Tennessee, Fox Sports.
I drove into that place
Knoxville,
for
Iowa.
22 years of my life, and in 16 years, I never missed a race.
Nice.
Going to this, okay, I will say it, and if you're from Pennsylvania, I don't care. Knoxville is the sprint car capital of the world. Any place the Hall of Fame is at, that's the
right.
capital.
I got a question.
It is, but I'll tell you what, guys. I've raced at Knoxville and I've raced at Indiana, and I'll tell you what, man, I never knew what racing was until 2015 when I drove out there to go racing. Them boys race 5, 6 nights a week out there. It's just phenomenal. I mean, Knoxville's my home place. I've been there my whole life. But if you want to go racing and see it all the time, Indiana's the place to be.
Right.
Those,
It really is.
yep, Indiana.
I know that Pennsylvania don't have a lot of non-wing stuff, and when we come out there, when USAC comes out there, you guys appreciate us. I mean, when I went out there, the 3 times I went out there, it was like being at home.
Now I got a question for you. You ran down to Knoxville for 22 years, and I know you've entered the Nationals. Have you ever made the A main at the Knoxville Nationals?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Oh, I think the best run that we ever had in our life, and there wasn't, this is back when there was 70 cars. I mean, I remember that. I'm that old. And If I remember right, we finished 17th in the D main.
Okay.
And back then, the D main is like the F main today, you know, but we didn't care. We were just wanting to go racing.
You were there doing it.
And now, if you tell somebody, oh, hell, I raced in 17th in the D main, they're all like, wow, that's big time for you, you know. And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, you got to bring a pretty big gun to run good down there. You got to be ready.
Yeah. Even if you don't have a big gun and you ain't never done it, my little gun's always got around there just fine.
Yeah, sure. Well, we appreciate
You
your
guys
time.
out in Pennsylvania, a lot of people don't realize this. I went out there my first year in 15 with the USAC guys, and people don't realize this, but I get out there and I had just got 500 t-shirts. Now, the Eastern Tour is 7-8 nights. Ain't that right?
Yes.
And I was out there with all these t-shirts, and I remember I couldn't make it out of a gas station without selling 5, 6, 10, 12 t-shirts. Didn't matter where I went. I don't care. I could have went anywhere. I would have sold t-shirts. But I remember when I got there, pulled into Pennsylvania and New York and all them places for Eastern Tour, I know when I come home, I had no t-shirts left in my box. I had sold 500 t-shirts.
Pennsylvania race fans have no
They-
problem supporting the
Yeah.
guys that travel up and down the road.
They were phenomenal.
Yep,
They interviewed me. They treated me just like the guy that won the race. And that was pretty special to me. You know, we were sitting there eating breakfast and we were talking about Brian Clausen, and God bless his soul, the night he passed away was the night that I won my championship with the midgets. And I was wearing his t-shirt, and I thought that was real special, you know. I didn't get the chance to show him or tell him, but about 2 or 3 weeks before that, he had called me and said, "Hey, I won the New Zealand championships out there." And I said, "Yeah, I was watching you on Facebook." And he said, "Well, you don't know, but I was wearing your t-shirt when I done it." And to this day, that's a part of my heart that I'll tell you guys, that's pretty special.
Sure is.
You know,
Yeah,
you think about things like that.
people don't realize that. A lot of people do know, but how great of a person Brian Clausen really was. I mean, he was a great talent. He was a generational talent.
He knew I was no trouble to the fast boys,
Yep.
but he sure didn't want me not on the track. He
He
made sure that if everybody else got something, that I got it too.
he was a truly great human being.
I mean,
All the
he
things that he
nominated me out at Belleville, Kansas, the 3 years before that, 14 I think it was. He nominated me for Sportsmanship Award. And before that, they didn't even have a Sportsmanship Award. And they nominated me and give it to me. And we made the show that night, which was phenomenal. You know, if you've ever seen Belleville, Kansas, that's what you call a real freaking racetrack.
Not for the faint of heart.
And I'm not putting Knoxville or Eldora or any, you know, I've been to Eldora a bunch of times. And this is what's really cool to me. A lot of people don't realize this, but I've been to the Four Crown 3 years. And I took my sprint car and my midget all 3 years. I went out there for the Four Crown. And I actually made the show with the midget and the sprint car all 3 years. And that, for a man all by himself, traveling 11 hours with 2 cars, is phenomenal. A lot of people sit in the stands and don't realize what we really have to do to go racing. We love this sport. And, you know, I don't have a lot of sponsors. I am my sponsor.
Yep.
Everybody asks me, who you got with you? I say, well, I got me, myself, and I. And us 3 are going racing. And it don't matter what he says, because me, myself, and I are going, you know.
That's right.
And that's why I done so much as I did. I would still be racing hard every day if my body would let me. Hopefully someday I'll get back to where I can come to Pennsylvania and come out and run the Eastern Tour again. I was gonna do it this year, but we never got our motors, so, we're still waiting on motor parts, and I talked to the guy the other day, and he said maybe a couple weeks and we'd be ready to go.
Right.
So,
Well, we look forward to you coming back.
Yeah,
East.
maybe come back
oh
and see
yeah,
us again.
I had a lot of good fun out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first person I ever ran into, I pulled into Pennsylvania, I was lost. Hell, everywhere I went that year, I was lost. I had people find me 50 miles away from a racetrack I drove by about an hour before that. Drove right by it, seen all the campers. Thought, man, hell, that's a big campground. I didn't know what it was. These guys found me sitting on a highway 50 miles from there. They said, well, hey, aren't you supposed to be at Kokomo? I said, yeah, where the hell is it? So they said, follow us, and I'll be damned, they drove the same way I just came. Went right to the place. But I like Kokomo. They've treated me very well there. Every racetrack I've ever been to, except for when you get clear out east, they're kind of scary, but the tracks are all perfect. But it's everybody's got a different way of living, and when you travel across country like that, you adapt. You know, you got to be adapt for everything, and I did. I did. Even taking the hose clamps and jack handle and everything else to make it to Florida my first year, you know?
Made a dry shack out of the jack handle.
9 o'clock at night, blew a radiator hose. I knew I didn't have a lot of water with me, so I knew I had to save everything I could. And I remember crawling out, and out there they were running 100 mile an hour down that freaking highway. And I ain't kidding you, it was phenomenal. We're sitting in my truck, got the radiator hose off, there's a little pinhole in it. And I knew then that I'm gonna find a way to get there. So I just took my jack handle and a hacksaw and cut a big end off of it and stuffed it in my hose and took the hood off the race car and took the 2 hose clamps off of it. And I put it together and I drove that sucker 275 miles with a jack handle in it.
I knew you used a jack handle for something. I couldn't remember, was it the drive shaft or the radiator?
No, it was the
You used
radiator.
the jack handle.
Got it done.
Yep. I actually had to pee in the radiator that night to get enough water.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I did. And
you gotta
people
do.
think you're crazy. Well, sometimes, you know,
Desperate times.
that
Robert,
that
desperate
half a
times.
bottle of pee got me to the motel. I crashed out, got up the next morning and filled the bottle 15 times to
Yep.
fill the radiator.
That's right.
What you gotta do.
You know, but by God, I made it. You know.
Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here from Robert's shop. We'll be coming to you probably in a little bit once we get down to Knoxville.
Yep.
We got a little administrative things to do when we get down there, like getting our credentials and things like that. So stay tuned. We're gonna be coming at you quite a few more times in the next 3 days. We got a lot going on here in central Iowa. And,
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Weather's blowing out. Looks pretty good for the next 3 days, so we should have some pretty good action on the track. So,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Robert, always a pleasure. Robert and I had lunch together out in Kokomo, Cuckoo Magoo's, or Choo Choo Magoo's.
Choo Choo Magoo.
We had the all-you-can-eat catfish one Friday during SmackDown. That's when I first met Robert, a long time ago.
All
So-
right, buddy.
Hopefully, there's big news coming for us shortly.
Yep,
We'll
so-
see what happens.
And we'll have it here first, you know that. So, hey, thanks a lot. Stay tuned. Keep checking up for updates. We'll be also putting some pictures of that up, and we'll see you then.
As always.
Take a friend to the
Thanks.
race, and take a friend to the races.
All right.